like Sergeant Marr said, I'm newly appointed, and my partner, Officer Duguay, we're happy to help the community with any youth offenders, and like Officer Mayfield said, we're here to rehabilitate those youth. We don't want them to follow in the same footsteps of the others that they're following. So we definitely are happy to assist anyone that works in the school field. I don't know if there's any teachers in the crowd or, okay, so definitely that's something that we want to assist you guys in. It's a very hard job, as we know, so I'm happy to be here, and if you guys want my number, it's 929-354-7213. And you can also come to the 6-9 precinct if you have any questions or concerns. Okay. Nice meeting you.
So now I'm going to ask Sammy Maria to come up and talk about those crime prevention tips.
Good evening to all. The inspector took a little bit of my flair. He took one of the things I was going to say about the vehicles being left running. However, though, as the inspector said, we have noticed some spikes in some of our crimes that we can take care of ourselves. Example, being the vehicle running while we go into the store, grab a cup of coffee. You may have a hot cup of coffee, but you got no car. So we want to make sure that we have the car and think about the coffee later. When it comes also to when we're doing our shopping and we're paying, when we're about to check out, we want to make sure we want to grab our bags before we take a card out of the card reader. So we want to make sure that we continue to practice smart shopping by utilizing, make sure that everything that we went into the store to shop with, we come out with. So we don't want to give someone the opportunity to take advantage of us for our own faults. Listen, it happens, we're all human, but we practice, perfect practice will make perfect, so we want to make sure we do that. When it also comes down to deliveries of our really anticipated packages that we have, I know I'm one of them. I'm a little kid. When I get my little box from Nike, can't wait to get home, but I want to make sure that it's there. So if we definitely practice where we have even a scheduled drop-off, have a neighbor pick it up, or even have our own location to go to pick it up, that's even better. So we want to make sure that we are helping ourselves not be victims. We're helping ourselves come home to the joy that we want, which is that whatever package we'll receive in that aspect. Then we also have the opportunity to make sure we lock our doors to our homes, lock our windows. Don't give no one the opportunity to come visit you when they're not invited. And even if they are invited, just make sure you lock your doors and make pretend you're not home. But I definitely don't want us to take more of your time. If you need more other tips or things how we could be a resource to you, whether it's by registering your electronics with the precinct, registering your bicycles, window etching, we are definitely a resource to you that can help you. And if you are experiencing anything that you feel that, you know what, I could be a help to you guys, please come check me out. Check out Officer Roxton. We'll definitely do our best to assist and continue to build our relationship that we have built for so long, and continue to be a better community. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Sammy. Just want to acknowledge the officers in the back here. We have our auxiliaries led by Officer Riche. Do a great job. You see them on Eagle Street, Mature Street, Glenwood, and Rockaway. We have our lieutenant, special operations lieutenant. We have our field training officers newly assigned to the precinct. We did get 12 officers, field training officers. So they're here with us. They work 2 different shifts. One group starts at 11, next group starts at about 6 o'clock, and you'll see them mostly on Flatlands and Glenwood and Rockaway. We have our NCO officers in the back here. Adam is here, one half of Adam I see. Adam, Charlie, and David. We lost Sector Boy. We lost Officer Segovia and Saleh, they went to the Detective Bureau. So congrats to them, but we're looking to fill that position up very soon. We also have our Cop of the Month, Officer Wilson. Neighborhood Safety Team Officer. So he's Cop of the Month because on January 1st, him and his team, they were patrolling in the confines of the 69th precinct. They observe a male adjust his waistband. They observe a handle of a firearm. They approach that male. The male draws the firearm and points it at them. These officers are able to successfully apprehend the individual, not have any violence either way, and they're able to successfully remove that firearm and place that individual in custody. So, putting themselves in harm's way routinely, these officers do a phenomenal job, especially Officer Wilson, who has been with the neighborhood safety team and the public safety team for a while now. He has 5 years in the department. Prior to joining the police department, he worked for the U.S. Army in the Joint Terrorist Task Force unit for 3 years. Officer Wilson, in his 5 years in the department, made 53 arrests, 5 of which are gun arrests. So he's our Cop of the Month. So can we get a round of applause for Officer Wilson? Come on up. Give it up for us all, man. And the chief was actually at the precinct on that night, right after that incident, talking to us. So, well deserved, man. And glad you guys are safe. Come on. Hold on to that.
Frida, come in.
So that's all I have. I'm going to ask Chief Stevenson to say a few words.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Where's Frida? She blocked the, they didn't get to see my shoes. Wow. I'm going to speak loud, but I'm a singer and I want to preserve my voice, so I'm not going to enunciate. No? That's not going to work here? No? So let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Deputy Chief Ruel Stevenson. I'm the executive for this borough, Brooklyn South, the best borough in the world. I call this borough the UN in the city. Every group is represented in this borough. I am 4 months short of 3 years here. And Brooklyn South is not new to me. I actually started my career here at Brooklyn South, the 7-0 precinct. So going back even before I came on the job, I came to this country when I was 10 years old, and I landed in Brooklyn South in the 7-0 East Flatbush. So I came from Jamaica. Any Jamaicans here? Very good. All right, so 10 years old in Brooklyn for my entire life. Never dreamed of coming on the police on the police force. So about 28 years ago, when I told friends and family I was coming on the force, they suggested that I was a sellout. Why do I want to join this? And so I looked at it as an opportunity to join the force and to be a change in the police department. And I will tell you, in the last 28 years, I've seen a transition, a police department that is more receptive, more open to ideas, more inclusive of folks joining and be a partnership, more, I would say, there's more accountability and more transparency. And it's really because of you guys. It's really because of the people like yourself. You know, when I look in the Webster Dictionary and I look up partnership, I see 6-9 council. That includes the community. You know, when I look up in the archive in the police department, council, I see 6-9. This is the way you do it. You guys come out in force, you hold us accountable, and that's how we're able to do what we do and be better at it. And that's important. So starting my career in the 7-0, I transitioned from the 7-0 to the 8-1 in Brooklyn North. From there, I transferred up to the Bronx. I did some time in the 5-0 precinct. I did some time in internal affairs. Got promoted from sergeant to lieutenant, went to the 2-8 precinct in Harlem. Got promoted to captain and was retained in Manhattan North in the 3-2. Was a commanding officer in the 3-0, commanding officer in the 4-7 in the Bronx for 3 years, 7 months, and 14 days. I was the XO in the Housing Bureau for 3 years, and now, like I said, I'm 4 months short of 3 years here in Brooklyn South. So coming back to Brooklyn South is really special. The barber shop, when I was a young boy, that when I had hair and voluntarily had it, is still there. And that's important because I can walk into that barber shop and feel very comfortable, and folks who are in that shop and other business, they see me and it's a warm welcome. And that's important because when I was sitting here watching the NCOs come up, all I kept thinking about is trust and relationship. And that's what this program and everything that you do when you come here and you interact with your NCOs and the police officers, including your commanding officer, you develop that trust, you develop that relationship that is paramount later on down the road. I don't want to be all over the place, but I want to tell you a quick story. 20 years ago, when I was in the 2-8 precinct, I was a special operations lieutenant, and we had just had a robbery on Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard and around 116th Street. 4 kids had just robbed an African merchant, African business owner, and they took off. We had aviation, we're searching for these kids. We arrested 2, and the 3rd eluded us. We found them later on down on Adam Clayton Powell in front of his house. And in front of his house was the entire block, including his grandmother. And they formed a wedge around him. And they said, nobody is touching this kid. Shortly after that, before we had NCOs, we had community officers, beat officers, CPU, community policing unit. The police officer who was assigned to that beat came onto the scene shortly after, and Grandma recognized him because that was his beat. And right away, she ran up to him and hugged him. Before you know it, the kid was in the car going back to the precinct. Why did she do that? Because she knew him, she trusted him, and it was a relationship that she had before this. It's so important that you forge that relationship with your police officers before their incident, before there's any conflict, so that things can be resolved easier and better and quicker. That's why it's important that you come to these meetings. That's why it's important that you sit and you hear your commanding officer and you meet your NCOs and you have that relationship. It makes a world of a difference. Our world is a different world. The police world is different. You will never understand everything that we do. But if we do show up and explain, and you know the person who's explaining it, it matters who it's coming from. And we could be saying the same thing to you, and if you know the one cop who's saying it to you, you may gravitate towards it. So it's very important that, you know, again, when I see this, Gardy, and again, I want to say to your council, your board, and what you do here in the 6-9 precinct should be emulated citywide. Every single, yes. Every council, if they were smart, they would say, listen, I want to know what the 6-9 is doing. I want to come and take notes and say, hey, listen, this is how you do it. This is what we should be doing. This is how we should be impacting our community. I want to say thank you for your relationship. Thank you for your concern, and thank you for your trust. The trust you put in the men and women in the back, in uniform here, and the ones who are back in the precinct. By the way, who's covering the 6-9 if everybody's here? Yeah, I want to say thank you for trusting us. We are not perfect. We are working very hard to become better, and that's what we can do. We will make mistakes. There's always, you know, I will say this, you know, we are like doctors, right? We want to save lives. We're in the business of saving lives, and every so often things happen not the way you planned. And I want to tell you that the hard-working men and women that I know in this police department, there's few that I wish I didn't know, there's few that I wish wasn't part of this uniform, but please don't paint every single officer with the same brush. You know, it's so important that you support the hardworking cops who are out there every day in the grind, doing it for you. They come to work, put their uniform on in the locker room, and they come to serve. I don't know too many cops that come to work, put the uniform on, and say, we're gonna give the community help. But we need you to help us, we the ones who don't have the same intention. That's what we need you here for. I remember years ago, when I was a cop, a community member from the 7-0 said to me, you know, man, these cops are terrible in the 7-0 precinct. You know, they do X, Y, Z. I'm always getting stopped. I'm always getting harassed. And I said to him, well, have you made any complaints? Have you said anything? I said, if you don't suggest and complain, you know, whoever it is that's violating you is going to continue to violate you because nothing is being done. And the next person is going to be violated because we weren't able to identify the person who's violating. I don't tolerate it. I have a very proud 28 years of service, and I uphold my cops to that standard. It's important. You guys all look like me. You probably have my blood in you. And, you know, we all, I didn't mean that in any, but yeah, so it's important. So what I do want to say though is, where's our crime prevention officer? You know, as I look across the borough and I think of what's going on as far as crime in this borough, thankfully, overall crime is down. We're up maybe one murder. Felony assault is what's really driving the borough in crime, but overall shooting is down, shooting incident, shooting victims, and just overall crime. We couldn't do that without your partnership. I always tell people, when I was a precinct commander, I wish I had a cop that I can put in every street corner. And I didn't, but what I did was I forged a relationship with our community. And our community people, whether it's cameras allowing us to view cameras when an incident took place, whether it's giving us information that put us in the right place at the right time to prevent things, you know, whether it's telling us what we don't know that is happening, whether it's a spot that's playing music till 4 o'clock or illegal social club, all those things matter. You're not snitching, you're making life better for yourself. I remember when I was a CO in Manhattan, we had a shooting right around a school. And this is broad daylight. And we get to the corner, and there's bullets, there's shell casings all over the place. And I walk in, and there were people that were sitting on the stoops when shots rang out, 3 different guns. Nobody saw anything. So a pregnant lady came up to me and she said, you know, I was an inspector then, inspector, I'm moving, I'm getting out of this neighborhood. And I couldn't tell her not to leave, but my thought was, if nobody see anything, is this what we're gonna do? We're just gonna pack up and leave every single time things happen? Or are you gonna strap up your boots and say, listen, we're not gonna tolerate this anymore? You guys are doing that here in the 6-9. And I appreciate it. Chief McAvoy, the borough commander, appreciate this. What you guys have here is very special. Gardy, please tell me if I'm talking too long. I don't know if my time, okay. Yeah, so we appreciate what you do, and we would not see the success that we're experiencing had it not been for what it is that you do here. Trust me, it's working. When we stand and we as executive, whether it's on TV or at different forum, you know, we tout our chests and we talk about these numbers, and we have to remember the community people who are there, who are actually taking part, who are giving us information or helping us. It's a partnership, and this partnership is extremely important. So I thank you for it. Here in the 6-9, have all the confidence in the world that you have 2 very great leaders here, Inspector Abdullah and Captain Smallwood, who I helped handpick for this precinct because of his intelligence, his commitment, and his drive. I thought he would be a compliment to Inspector Abdullah, who is doing it. So a round of applause for him and his team, men and women who are really contributing to not just crime fighting, but community building. Our NCO, I'm sorry, what is your name again? Yes, what is it? Coleman. She mentioned something that's so important. It's not always about arresting, it's about rehabilitating. It's about changing the mentality and growth of our youth. It's not about unnecessary criminalizing our youth. There's more to it than that. And that's what we want to do. That's the mentality, that's the change and the growth in the police department that I've seen in the last 28 years. We've made some remarkable progress, but we still have a long way to go. And I look forward to serving with you. I look forward to working with you. And if there's anything that I can do to help assist to make life better here in any community, I will give you my number. My number is 347-672-7000. No prank calls, please. 347-672-7000. Everybody in the city have my phone number. And like I said, you have a great team here. And Gardy, I can't say enough about what you do and your board in this community. So round of applause for that. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Did you say 7,000 at the end? Yes,